On Capitol Hill, the political battle over the January 6th investigation is certainly heating up. A group of GOP lawmakers associated with Trump's Stop the Steal rally are threatening legal action against 13 tech companies if they comply with a request from the House Select Committee to turn over their data. That those companies include Google, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter. Joining me now, Susan Del Percio, Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst, and David Jolly, former congressman from Florida and an MSNBC political contributor. Welcome, you guys. It's good to see you. Ladies first, Susan, what do you make of these threats? And do these Republicans have any legal basis here to make them?
Well, I think the threats are basically grandstanding, especially for an audience of one, meaning the former president. We all know that Kevin McCarthy basically does what the former president wants him to do. In this case, it's go after big tech like Donald Trump did when he was president. I don't think that there's much legal standing for this. I'm not sure hasn't been reported what laws would be broken if they went ahead and did this. I think the idea of retribution, though, by a political party to a business who's complying with a legal subpoena is a very dangerous thing, and it's actually totally destructive to our democratic process. Our government's not supposed to interfere with our business with political threats.
And look, I just want to be clear that right now this is a request. It has yet to reach the level of a subpoena, but that may indeed be what comes next on this. With you, David, Kevin McCarthy said this week that if those companies comply with the House committee request, Republicans, quote, will not forget whenever they retake control of Congress, potentially costing these companies their ability to operate in the United States. Now, it cannot be forgotten or overlooked that he is on the list of Republicans whose phone records the committee wants to see. We all know he talked to Donald Trump during the insurrection. So if he has nothing to hide, why not comply?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Once again, it's important to baseline this and say Kevin McCarthy is scared, not just because of what his personal knowledge is related to his conversations with Donald Trump that day, and also perhaps some of the planning mechanisms that went into January 6th, but he's also scared of the political fallout of that. So you are seeing this swift reaction. Now, look, I do think, should this go to a subpoena, it very well may get litigated and litigated quickly. This is a request for information related to third parties. It wouldn't be unusual to have a court take a quick look at this. But ultimately, given the reasonableness of the request, right, did individuals have knowledge that day, as well as the gravity of the matter, I think a court would certainly give Congress the authority. But to Kevin's specific reaction then, this was a threat. Right. I understand, Alex. I think it's obvious to everybody. This was not Kevin saying, hey, I think telecommunications policy in the U.S. needs to be revisited for reasons of prudent policy, or I think we should go to court to challenge whether or not they can comply with the request. This was a direct threat, the type of political thuggery that you've seen perhaps in some major cities in generations past. Kevin McCarthy has now brought to the U.S. Congress. Right.
He has said, if you do this, we will do that. Right. So, Susan, the question to you. Do you think this is a legitimate case of obstruction, or do you think it is just McCarthy's attempt to try to delegitimize and muddy the waters around this investigation?
Well, I don't know legally if it would be obstruction. David could probably speak to that. I've heard a lot of legal experts say most likely no, it'd be very hard to go after him on a charge of obstruction. But I do think, as David said, this is all about operating from fear. They are trying to delay this as long as possible because eventually I think the truth will come out. But Kevin McCarthy is scared of the facts, and that's why he's trying to bury them.
So, okay, then the question of obstruction, David, to you, this is a request. We've made that clear at this point. If it comes to a subpoena, those companies have no choice but to comply, correct? I mean, what could Kevin McCarthy's threats do at that point?
Yeah, largely. And understand the in-house counsels at all of these big tech companies are reviewing this very closely because, again, it's talking about third-party communications related to, I think, that letter that was sent by, I call them the crazy caucus, but the Matt Gaetz, the Lauren Boeberts of the world have said, hey, this is our confidential data. Look, a court will give that a hearing likely and say, OK, let's hear if these individuals have a legitimate concern. But again, the reasonableness of the request by the Congress is certainly satisfied. And so the question is, has Kevin McCarthy engaged in any type of intimidation? Yes, but political behavior largely lies just outside the reach of the courts. There's probably very little enforcement other than the voters acting to throw somebody like Kevin McCarthy out or to say we don't want Republicans in charge so they can't act on that type of political thuggery. That's the accountability mechanism we have in this country.
Okay, David and Susan, I love our chats. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And a very